I'm going to do this. The moment I show your name is the moment I start you off. Take me away.
I am Timo Peach. And as a jobbing creative, alone in a shed for much of the time, I like to try and feel reasonably connected. Keep an ear out for inspiration and an eye on the now. But lately, I have been wondering how to cope with now with more than helpless bad language. Coup de grace. Every generation vainly predicts that it will be the final Armageddon chapter of humanity. But is it any wonder that we sometimes secretly do too? We're more connected than ever. We see and know a little too much, like we're boiling over. So how can we get a perspective on the future? Here is the universe. This is your reality, your environment, where the everything of you has ever happened, where you'll find the tiny blue planet with a thin envelope of breathable air and the thick history of ideas that you were nurtured by. Culture. Ideas surround us and penetrate us and bind our personal universes together. What stories were you told when you grew up? What character have you played as a result? What culture are you helping to make a reality? Because we're facing a bit of a crisis. The human instinct to tell stories has gone mad with the modern age. We come and go and buy and sell and hope and fear in stories. They fill our eyes and minds and walls and pockets and toilets. And honestly, there do seem to be some poop-inducingly miserable themes every day. And you think it's bad now. We're facing a potential collapse. Because we're facing growing population, with aging population, with climate degradation. If you think your personal story is a wannily depressing social drama, I'm afraid you're wrong. You are in a socio-political disaster movie. Change is coming, and there's a list of things that will fundamentally shift human society again soon. Bio-nanotechnology, robotics, genetic selection, and everything driven by data. The 21st century markets are going to look increasingly about human body part upgrades and bots. Are we about to surrender something fundamental of our humanity? It's a concern. And it's made me think about what it is that humans might need now more than anything. If today more of us globally seek escape in suicide than are killed in war and terrorism combined year on year, then surely it's about time we started seeing things differently. Is it any wonder we're gazing out at the stars? Thing is, we're already quite versed in issues of the future because of one thing. Science fiction! It's everywhere! But it used to be niche, lower art, geeks' cliquery, an escape for the vulnerable and unmachine-like. But today, everyone speaks a little bit of its language. And I think that's because it has a social conscience. Science fiction may seem like a space opera distraction, but opera's never really about robots, is it? It's about us, human beings. Science fiction is us slyly putting on X-ray specs to blot out our surface cultures and see ourselves for real. Imagine a new context. Sci-fi may be our escape, but it's also our therapy and possibly our guidebook. A silver ship to our daydreams and a growing reference concordance of the languages, ideas and man-traps of tomorrow, teaching us the future, which is why I think we may even be okay. It's led me to make a connection with my next personal creative project, a playful musical look at many of the tropes and ideas given to us by science fiction, but all really playing around with one idea of what it is we'll need in the future to survive. Because what we will need is art. Starting with a whole new story. There is one story we are all born into, the economic one. And the story of our economics in the West is a fable that's grown into a technical culture that runs like code through everything we see and hear. Impossible to extract from our bloodstream, the fable of growth. We've been taught the story of machines, how we must make them, service them, be like them, because when just stripped bare, we ourselves are just biological autons of consumption. So only growth is good for us. And to grow fast, we must squeeze ourselves into the little boxes of the machine. But don't worry about how we'll endlessly refuel this machine, because we're resourceful, we're inventors, we're nature tamers, quantum decryptors, God dethrone us. We will hollow the earth. We will dim the very sun. We will conquer the universe in Spanish galleons. And we will do all that sooner than fundamentally question the cost of our quest for gold. Because in a consumption culture, you are really going to want to be at the apex. Capitalism itself has driven us to the very brink of catastrophic climate change, and it's driven something else as well. Sacrifice zones, communities, regions, people, minds. It's not just waste dumps and plastic islands, open cast filth and climate suicide. It's bullshit jobs and soulless silos. Consumerism, debt, stress, intolerances, disconnection. Have you noticed we're getting sick of it? It's no fun anymore. But if art creates new ways of seeing, then storytellers may yet be our saviors, and play our weapon of salvation, and sharing our new economy. Let's write the story of how our little boxes are opening, of how we're turning our hierarchies into networks. The future is at hand. It's yours in mine, mate. It's not time travel, it's time banks. It's not mindless automation, it's mindful generosity. It is shorting the corroded corporate machine with the rogue code of our very humanity. It isn't patenting, it's parenting. The greatest marks of art are confident. Isn't that the everything we are trying to teach our children? So what is the song of the future that we sing to them? Is it truthful? Is it soulful? Does it inspire invention and intervention? Or will they say to us, as my dad always said to science fiction, what a load of codswallop!